Hi everybody and welcome to 52 for You. How to memorize a deck of cards. 2025 could be the year you start. By now perhaps you've completed choosing 52 unique people, actions and objects that you attach to cards. Remember to keep your syllable count low. Always try your best to choose words with one or two syllables at the most if you can. And make sure it's something that rolls off your tongue easily. The tongue of your brain, that is. We now know, if you've been watching, that every 3 cards makes one picture when we use the person action object method. But memorizing 17 pictures doesn't sound inherently easy, does it? Every time I memorize a deck of cards, I place the images I'm making into an imagined version of my childhood home. Simply pick 17 rooms in your house, or 17 places at least. You pick 17 places that you will place each picture you make in the same order every time. For example, my first location is my driveway. That means that the first 3 cards I look at make one picture that I always place in the driveway. Then I use my front lawn as the second location, and the stairs going up to the door as a third. That's 3 of 17 locations before I even get inside the house, which means 9 cards are already dealt with. There's your homework for today. Choose 17 locations that you can imagine yourself walking through one at a time. It's okay and good and great to start with 3 cards to not get overwhelmed. But if your list is done, I'd start with full decks. Use your memory palace. Take your time. Look as many times as you need to look. It will probably take half an hour your first try. If you're using a second deck to rearrange, which I highly recommend, you can put it in new deck order. Make sure you time yourself. If you try once a day, you'll get to 10 minutes in maybe a week or 2. Oh, have your person, action, object list next to you as well. I don't expect that it's perfectly memorized just yet. Have you tried to memorize a deck yet? Have you made your person, action, object list? I memorized my list by reciting it as I walked. As I stepped on long walk, I would say the person of the first card on the first step, their action on the second step, and the object on the third step. After 156 steps, you've gone through your list once. Of course, you at least sort of have to know it before doing that, but it's remarkable how much of an impression a strange list like this leaves. It took lots and lots of walking while reciting to be able to take the 156 steps. Reciting perfectly. You can also do push-ups and recite, juggle and recite, but the most natural is walking. You can't memorize cards faster than you can recite your list in order, or backwards, recite it all kinds of ways. Even when you have the list memorized, focusing can be a big obstacle. The mind tends to wander from this task, so keep walking. It will take a few months to get used to, but think of it this way. If your mind wanders, it's going to be a good mind for cards because it's active. I had been going for walks, making drawings of my characters doing what I was making them do in the card. Now that it was Christmas, I had still not memorized more than maybe 5 decks of cards in total, even though I'd been meaning to since summer. Boxing Day, the power went out. I was home with no internet. I must have tried 4 times a day all week, an hour apiece to memorize, and 30 minutes apiece to rearrange the second decks. That's right, rearrange the second decks, plural. My first week of doing cards, one spent a few hours a day on Christmas vacation memorizing. 100 for cards at a time, sort of. 12 cards wrong here, 48 cards wrong there, 22 cards wrong. It was expectedly rough, but I went for it, thinking that if I started with 100 for a week or 2, and then dropped down to only 52, things would be a lot easier. And they were, by the end of the month. I was memorizing a deck in less than 10 minutes and super happy with my progress. Subscribe for more and go for it, folks. You might be the next card wizard, hey-ha. Positioning is incredibly important. You've got your person, action, object list ready, right? Listen, positioning, regardless of a card's suit, its face value, the number or letter, dictates where the image is made in your memory palace. Positioning determines where in your driveway or your bedroom the picture that corresponds with that location will be placed. Regardless of suit, If the person card is a 2, it's going in the bottom left of whatever room. The first card of every picture, or the person card, tells me where in the room the entire image will go. There are 13 different face values, 2 through ace, if you sector the rooms off in your mind. To look like a Rubik's Cube, 3 by 3, you will have 9 boxes, 5 to put 1 face value. For 2 place to face values, my positioning only uses 7 places in a room, so 6 of them have to values attached. My 2 and jack cards are in the bottom left. My 10 and 7 cards go where I call mid-right. And don't worry, it will seem simpler than it sounds very soon. Let's say that the first card you see in the deck is the 5 of anything. It would be an image of Kong budding love in the top middle of my bedroom because it is a 5. The reason this is useful is now, when I am recalling the deck, I may not remember exactly who was budding love, but I might remember where they were budding love. In the top middle where my 5 cards go. 13 face values, if you break the rooms into 3 by 3 squares, that's 5 spots dedicated to a single card. And for spots that will be dedicated to a number and a jack, queen, king or ace perhaps, and perhaps in the corners of the rooms. So when you can't recall the person card, but you can recall that it was in the bottom left, you've just eliminated 40 for possible cards. Yes, you have just eliminated 40 for possible cards by remembering that it was in the bottom left corner. Make your grids 3 by 3 and dedicate numbers to spots. It'll be harder to do later when you're stuck in your ways, like me. That's when the face value of a person card, regardless of suit, dictates the position of the entire image. Now we're going to look at how the suit comes into play. Let's say a set of cards started with the 4 of diamonds for me. That's Croc from Kung Fu Panda. Because he is a 4, he would go in the top left of whatever room I was in, where all my 4s go, as well as my queens. Remember, some of your positions will have to share space with another value, unless you choose 13 different locations in any given room. I work with 7, so 6 of my positions have to values attached. If my Croc were the person, he would go top left, where my queens also go. And because he's a diamond, he would face right. Diamonds face right, clubs left, hearts towards me, and spades away from me. This way, I often remember that the picture was top right facing right, let's say, and that boils it down to being either the queen of diamonds or the 4 of diamonds. Orientation, that's what I call the north, east, south, west. Heading that the image faces, dictated by suit. The position is dictated by the face value, the orientation by the suit, because yes, if you can remember that your image was in the top left facing right, that reduces the number of possible cards to 2. That's right, 2, which is insane and super helpful. And if you remember it being an image in a spot that only ever houses 1 face value, some of your spots will do that. How many will be determined by if you choose 7 spots like me, or 9 like I think might be smart to do. That would boil it down to 1 card. For me, a top middle facing right can only ever be the 5 of diamonds. The top middle facing left can only ever be the 5 of clubs. Honestly, I should start to rewire my brain on this one and switch to 9 possible spots, like a Rubik's Cube. With positioning combined with orientation, I can see myself one day switching to no people at all. Just a position where perhaps I place myself, doing the action to the object that the second and third card decide. Next episode, you'll learn how to drill positioning into your head. It won't even hurt, hey, haha.